So I want to welcome everybody to the Street Dog Podcast, brought to you by the Street Dog Coalition. We are an international nonprofit caring for lives on both ends of the leash, and we provide free medical care and related services to pets of people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. I am your host, Daria Tavana, and I'm also the Director of Development at the Street Dog Coalition. So if you're joining us live, go ahead, drop an emoji in the comments. Say hi, let us know where you're tuning in from, and don't hesitate to ask a question if you feel inspired to. And for those of you who are new here, I want to let you know that the Street Dog Podcast is a really special podcast. We explore the world of animal welfare through the eyes of experts, street dog vets, and volunteers, and we share inspiring stories, provide updates on our advocacy work, and give you a peek behind the curtain at the challenges and rewards of working to improve the lives of animals belonging to people who are experiencing or at risk of homelessness. So if you're tuning in live again on Facebook, it is great to have you here. I know a lot of you guys tune in every week. Very exciting. We really appreciate your support and love connecting with you. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube, go ahead and make sure you're following the Street Dog Coalition on Facebook so you can also tune in live every episode. And that will give you a chance to engage with us in real time, like I see some of you guys are doing now, which we love. Okay. So on today's episode, I am really excited because I have veterinarian and trailblazer, Dr. Gemma Campling with me. A bit about Gemma before I let her take the stage. So Gemma founded Worldwide Vets in 2009. And Worldwide Vets aims to reduce suffering, advance welfare, and improve medical care, make it available to all species worldwide. And in order to achieve this goal, they work in over 10 countries across 4 continents, supporting local people and animals, vet clinics, and conservation initiatives. Each of their locations is unique, but whether they're working with wild or domestic animals, helping shelters, organizing TNR campaigns for our cat lovers and dog lovers here, or training local vets, the aim is the same: to improve the lives of the animals in their care. And I should also add that Worldwide Vets and the Street Dog Coalition have recently teamed up once again to go back to Ukraine and help pets of people who are in the midst of war with their incredible mobile clinic. And I've been following Gemma along her journey on Instagram at Worldwide Vets. I hope you do as well. And without any further ado, welcome to the podcast, Gemma.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Gemma. So it's really great to have you here. I know we had to make sure that the scheduling worked out because you are quite literally on the front lines in Ukraine. If you don't mind, can you give our viewers here a sense of where you are literally right now and what you've been up to these past few weeks?
Sure. So right now, me and the team are in a town called Kherson, which is in the south of Ukraine. It's a village on the front line. So there is a river that runs through Kherson that splits it in half. The other side of the river is occupied by the Russian forces. The side is held by the Ukrainian forces. And this was actually the river that flooded. You might have heard recently in the news, there was a dam that was blown up and a great big flooding came. This is the area that was filled with water as it flooded. Yes. And so we were initially planning to start on the west side of Ukraine and start dealing with areas that had a lot of animals from where people had to leave and cross the border. With the emergency in Kherson, we got an emergency call to say, please come down. You know, having a huge amount of animals being pulled out of the water with pneumonia, with trauma and injuries and fractures. So we dashed straight down here with the new clinic to start working in Kherson.
Oof. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I know you also mentioned that when I asked you how your day was going, you said it's going the same way it's gone every day these past few weeks. We set, a goal for how many animals we're going to treat, and then we end up treating way more animals. And I think that based on what you just shared with us and the comment that I just relayed to our audience, it's very clear to me that part of doing what you are doing, quite literally in the line of a fire, really requires you to have this flexibility and this malleability. So I'm curious if you can maybe kind of share with us a little bit, what are some of the challenges that you face while working in different countries and across different continents?
Absolutely. So yeah, you do have to be very flexible in this role. I've learned throughout my career that stress doesn't get you anywhere. You just have to, we call it making a plan in Africa. It's a saying, I'm going to make a plan. You just come up with an answer that's going to get you one step closer to what you want. So for instance, we plan how many animals we're going to do each day here. And then old ladies walk 3 villages with their sick cats, and you can't turn them away, so we treat them, and then we carry on with our normal work. And then we had a dog that got hit by a car rushed in just about 3 o'clock today. That was a critical case. Luckily, we've got some really great equipment. So we've got the x-ray and the ultrasound that's really helping us give great treatment. And the same is true in all the countries where we work. Generally, our work is in developing countries: Thailand, Egypt, Peru, Costa Rica. So there is never a straightforward way of doing something, and nothing ever goes to plan. We do our absolute best, but there's always a hiccup or a challenge that pops up that we weren't expecting. And really, it's just it's why I love my job so much. It's not straightforward. You think you know what you're doing, and then it all gets blown out the water, and you do a full 180 or a plan B, C, D, and just have to come up with something that's going to keep making an impact and working in a manner that's helping the animals. So that's one of my favorite parts of this job.
Oh man, that's I think a beautiful lesson that all of us can integrate into whatever line of work we are in, right? It's this idea of having a plan, but expecting that plan to either kind of fall apart, or needing to kind of go through plan B through Z to kind of make sure that you are having the kind of impact that you want to have and reaching all the animals that you can reach. And maybe if we can kind of zoom out again, could you kind of give us, maybe can you tell us a little bit more about the work of Worldwide Vets? I'm so inspired by the work that your organization does. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your mission to improve animal welfare globally. It's such a big undertaking. And I have to say, you guys you just do it so well.
Thank you. Yeah. So our goal is sustainability. Any group of people can go into a country and do 100 or 1,000 spays, and that's really cool. But developing the local skills, local capacity building, teaching people to better care for their animals and seek veterinary care, that is the way we're going to change the world. And that doesn't happen in a month or a year. It won't happen in my lifetime. I'm fully aware of that in a lot of the places we work, but it's putting in the foundations, building the first pegs, the first rung on the ladder to start changing people's minds and improving animal welfare. So that means that whilst we do a lot of animal treatments, we also do all of our veterinarians in each country that we focus. We have a locally employed veterinarian who receives continuing education from international organizations to improve their skills, and also for the nurses, the technicians, the animal care assistants. So we're really working on bringing up the education of local people to help local animals. And that's really super vital, really important, and really has to be focused on. Obviously, then we have teams of volunteers coming out from the States, from Europe, and basically creating like a power force to join up with the local veterinarian who's already doing work and providing sustainable, reliable work throughout the year for the community. And they come in, and then we do a great big sterilization campaign. So we've got more hands on deck, more support, more funds, more finances, and we can get a lot more medication. And that way we can make a really great impact. And then everything goes back to normal, where we still have a permanent vet in that location. So the community never has the support withdrawn. It's always there.
Wow. I that's so inspiring, because I think so often a lot of organizations that are well-intended go into different communities or different countries, and they kind of, for lack of a less gruesome metaphor here, they put a Band-Aid over a bullet hole, right? But it sounds like what you are doing is acknowledging that the people who are maybe not currently best equipped, but the people who in the long run are the best people to take care of these animals are the people who live there, are the people who are growing and coexisting alongside, these cats, these dogs, these horses, all these other animals. So I really appreciate that you were able to really zoom out, look at the big picture, look at the next 10, 20, 30 years, while also, like you mentioned, doing these surgeries, right? Paying attention to these like tiny stories, these beautiful small animals who are experiencing, this difficult period of time. So I have a lot of appreciation, and I'm sure our listeners do, and respect for the fact that you are not only on the ground doing this, doing these procedures and having these incredible conversations, but you're really focused. You're really focused on the big picture, and I know that the mobile clinic in Ukraine is operating. It's in full force. I've been seeing the pictures, watching the videos, and I'm curious, as our listeners are also curious, I have to imagine, what kind of services do you provide to pets affected by the war in Ukraine,
Yeah.
using this mobile clinic? Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the mobile clinic itself, and also let us know what kind of services you provide.
Okay, so we provide a huge variety of services. So one of the main focuses of our work is sterilization. Even before the war, there was a large number of stray animals, and that's just multiplied by thousands because people have had to evacuate their homes, leave their pets, cross the borders, leave their animals this side, and the numbers risen. And not only that, the infectious diseases have gone up because there's so many strays. They're no longer vaccinating their pets. They're no longer deworming their pets. So now the animals are suffering with infectious diseases, worms, fleas, ticks, as well as, breeding and all the other injuries that come with living in a difficult war zone. So be it gunshot wounds, missile shrapnel, the flooding, the pneumonia that followed that, the starvation, it's massive. So every day we do a good number of spays and neuters. And then we've also got in the clinic an ultrasound machine that was donated by Butterfly IQ, an X-ray machine that was donated by Sound, and Street Dog Coalition have helped purchase this trailer and get it over to Ukraine, which is just phenomenal. I didn't dream when I started helping in Ukraine, just over a year ago now, that we would have such a good piece of equipment. We roll up to any given location, open the door, and we have a hospital. We have running lights. We've got temperature control to keep the animals cool, X-ray, ultrasound, blood work, microscope, cages. We've really got the gear, and it's brilliant. And actually, people are looking at it thinking, gosh, we don't even have this for people, actually, in some areas. They're pulled over by the service we can offer. Like the little dog that came in that got hit on the road earlier today, he was admitted straight in, put onto fluids, put on a drip, given an X-ray, diagnosed, and then we can sort of work through and treat the animals as needed. So it is brilliantly equipped, which has made the service that we can offer second to none, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that with our listeners. And I also appreciate our listeners because I know so many of them have donated to Operation Ukraine, and we're truly pivotal in bringing this mobile clinic to life. And I know I keep saying this, but if you're listening, please head over to Worldwide Vets Instagram because you can see all of this equipment in action. Gemma, you have been so open and so candid and so incredible at documenting exactly what you're experiencing, and kind of showing this mobile clinic in action and this equipment put to incredible use. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I feel like I'm there in a way. And it's very rewarding for me. And it's just, I think a lot of people wonder, how do you treat these animals? How do you go around and make this impact? So you've really allowed us as viewers to have this front row seat to the impact you're having, and of course, oftentimes to the devastation that you're experiencing. So I really appreciate that. I know that our listeners really appreciate that as well. And I'm curious, are you able to maybe share some inspiring stories or experiences from your work in Ukraine, maybe with the Street Dog Coalition?
Absolutely. I mean, we all I can say is we're just so lucky to have worked with Street Dog Coalition, because what it has brought into this area, it's difficult to say. It has no value. What has been bought is priceless, because this service, I mean, we've got people walking 3 towns to bring in their most loved pet. And you've got to understand, there's people here, especially a lot of ladies, older ladies, that have nowhere to go. I mean, to give you a bit of an idea, this is what's behind me as I'm talking to you. This was a marketplace. It's just been bombed. There's nothing. This was the center of town.
Heartbreaking.
People are still here, and this is their pet. Okay, their husband is off fighting. Their sons are possibly off fighting. They've possibly lost partners, family members in the war. And what are they left with? I mean, we know how much people love their animals. You know, it's your fur baby, it's your child. That amplifies in a situation where, and every night here we're being struck by missiles. You know, you go to bed, you know you're going to be woken up at 2 in the morning by missiles coming in. You don't know if it's going to hit your building or not. You don't know if it's going to hit your neighbor or your friend in the next town. To have that cat or dog next to you in the bedroom, if you're on your own, is just so important for people. And to have Street Dogs support that, SPCA International also supporting our ongoing running costs. Yeah, it's priceless. And we've just had the most wonderful stories. I mean, we had a lady the other day who she's had this cat for 7 years. Her son is fighting. He's actively fighting. He comes home every couple of weeks. They're allowed off. And this cat is, he's got quite severe PTSD. And he doesn't have the option of a discharge. He still has to go and fight. And he's finding it very, very difficult. He's seen some really terrible stuff. And the cat for him is his grounding. That is his safe place. It's his friend. And this cat had pneumonia. And the lady brought it into us, and she was in floods of tears. She could barely breathe. Her son wasn't with her. He was off fighting. And she said, you know, the cat is going to die. And if the cat dies, my son will just die inside. He won't be able to fight for the country. Like, how will we survive this? It was too much. And we were really lucky. We managed to get the cat in, give it emergency care, and it made an absolutely full recovery after 4 days in intensive care in the clinic. And she was just beside herself with thanks, and she picked some strawberries from the garden and brought them to us as a thank you, which was adorable. So it really is, you know, really making an impact. The dog we had in today, road traffic accident. We had a puppy yesterday that got hit on the road, fully smashed pelvis. We evacuated him straight out of Kherson to a safer area for treatment and orthopedic surgery. I mean, a few of our animals that we've put up on Instagram, we had a beautiful dog called Sable. And unfortunately, Sable didn't make it. We really thought, he came out of the floods. He was emaciated. He had terrible pneumonia. He had a really low red blood cell count. He was so ill, and we put everything into it. And, you know, sometimes you just can't save them all. And that's heartbreaking for our team and for the people that rescued him, that risked their lives on a boat to go and pull him out of the water. But, you know, we're just doing as much as we can for as many as we can. So, yeah, there's certainly characters that have had us in tears over the last few weeks, and praying and begging and doing rain dances, whatever it takes to try and get them better. So yes, it's one at a time. It's one at a time.
One at a time. I love that. And the stories you're sharing with us, both online and here in this conversation, are nothing short of inspiring. And this human animal bond that you mentioned with the individual whose cat is his rock. I think that preserving those relationships are oftentimes what we feel are maybe like secondary to helping the animal, right? We're always so focused on helping the animal that I can imagine it feels like this added treat to be able to also help this individual navigate this seemingly impossible time. So I really appreciate that story. And I'm curious to know, maybe if you could share with us what other thoughts you have on the human animal bond in Ukraine. How has really witnessing that firsthand, you know, in this context, in this war-torn country, how has that changed you? Has that changed you? Has that changed the work you're doing, or maybe given you a different kind of perspective on the work you're doing?
Yeah, it's made me appreciate how simple general practice is when you have all your facilities at hand, and you don't have to keep putting on ballistic hats and vests when you're in the middle of a surgery, because that has its challenges. So it certainly made me appreciate that. It's given me a sense of humanity. I've never worked in an active war zone before. That was a missile.
Wow.
Active war zone before. So to see the social trauma that people are experiencing here, in a way, the first few months I was in Ukraine, I got really frustrated because I said, I can't fix this. What am I even doing here if I can't stop the war? I can't get all these dogs off the street. I can't save them all. And a very wise old lady said to me, you don't need to save them all. You need to save one today and one the next hour. And it totally changed my perspective to say, yes, actually, I'm not a politician. I can't stop a war, but I can do my bit and I can play my part, and I can actually make a really big impact with people helping globally. It's not just me. I've got a whole team of vets, nurses, support staff, Street Dog Coalition, SPCA International, all the people that have donated medicines, all the people that have donated equipment. It's not one team doing this. It's a global effort, and it's been mind-boggling, the support that people have had for Ukraine, and it's just humbled me. My whole career, it's just humbled me. Yeah,
That's beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that. And we have a few people commenting and congratulating you on this work and thanking you for this work. And I guess my question for you is, since, I myself am an animal activist, and I think so many people kind of suffer from this compassion fatigue. We're donating to every organization. We're volunteering our time locally, but we acknowledge these global issues. However, we're, oftentimes it feels like what you're saying, we can't stop the war, so we can't do anything. So what's the point of doing anything? And there's this kind of like paralysis that hits us sometimes, right? Especially when, I find myself turning on the news, educating myself about what's going on in Ukraine. So I'm curious to know, what advice do you have for aspiring veterinarians or individuals who are interested in making a difference in animal welfare on a global scale? I love what you just shared in terms of not needing to end the war, help everyone, rather kind of taking it one animal at a time. What other advice can you layer into that to all the future Dr. Gemma Camplings who are listening?
I think everyone can make an impact, and there's so many ways. You don't have to necessarily come to Ukraine to make an impact. I can't keep doing this work if we don't have support externally. So for instance, a couple of dollars allows me to vaccinate a dog, and then that dog is not going to get parvovirus or spread parvovirus, and it's going to save hundreds of lives. It's going to save suffering. It's going to make the life much better for one dog. $10,
another missile to anyone who just heard that little pop. Yeah.
$10 allows us to sterilize an animal and to stop animals breeding and to make a difference. And again, if you look on our social media, every little animal face that you see pop up there, be it a long sort of developing story or in a quick reel, that's another animal helped. So we are accepting volunteers, qualified veterinarians and nurses to come to Ukraine and support the cause. Not all of it is frontline, may I say. We're also doing a lot of work elsewhere. So yes, that's one way, but also just, finding an organization that you follow, that you believe in the work and the ethos of what they do, and getting behind them in a way to support what they do in a sustainable manner. Be that £1 a month or helping with fundraising or social media. There's so many organizations out there that need so many forms of support. You might not even have any training in anything animal related, but you've got skills that an organization can use in other ways, and those are just as valuable.
I think that's such great advice, and I think I love that. I think it really comes down to identifying what you're good at, identifying what you want to learn more about, and kind of finding something that really falls within that sweet spot, so that you're able to acquire a volunteership that allows you to shine in terms of your skills, but also allows you to learn something new. So I really appreciate that. And of course, whoever is out there listening to this and is feeling inspired by what Gemma has to share here, please reach out to Worldwide Vets, apply for a volunteership, and help Gemma do this meaningful work. And you know, there is one question I want to ask you, Gemma, before I let you go. I'm curious to know what's next for you. And by what's next, I mean, like, what does the rest of your week look like?
There's the question.
There it is.
Yeah, ever know. We like to think we know. We do. So we're down in Kirsten all week. So we've been down here a couple of weeks now, and we're going to carry on. I'm actually coming out to the AVMA Veterinary Conference in Denver this month, which is going to be really exciting. And yeah, just can't wait to get out there and tell people about what we do. We're going to have a stand in the nonprofit section. So if anyone is coming, do come say hi, because
I will be there, Gemma. I will be there, and I will be able to meet you. Very exciting. I did not know you would be there.
Yes. And then after that, straight back into Ukraine. So with a whole bunch more supplies, we need to restock quite a lot of equipment, medicines, pain relief, microchips, vaccinations, and so on. So I'll be bringing in a whole bunch more stuff. And this clinic is staying in Ukraine for the foreseeable future. So I'll be here and moving, you know, between the front lines, slightly safer areas, shuttling in and out animals, and carrying on all the treatment that we can do.
Wow, Gemma, thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation, for giving us insight into the impact that you've been having. And for everyone who is watching this, who is listening, please visit Worldwide Vets' website, make a donation, get involved, go to the Street Dog Coalition's website and donate to Operation Ukraine. I'm actually wearing our Operation Ukraine t-shirt right here. And if you guys are interested in getting one of these t-shirts, you can get one on our website in exchange for a small donation that goes directly to Operation Ukraine, which means that it falls in Gemma's hands. It goes toward supporting and maintaining our incredible mobile clinic there. And really, $1, $5, there is no donation too small, as all of it goes to help animals in need and goes to support the incredible work that Gemma and her team are doing over in Ukraine. And Gemma, I want to thank you again so much for taking the time out of your schedule to chat with us, to give us a peek behind the curtain. You are a personal hero to me, and surely a personal hero to so many individuals who are listening and are just so inspired by the work you're doing. So I want to thank you again. I know this is the end of your work day. I hope that you're able to get a semblance of peace after this phone call ends.
No.
Nope.
You never know.
Well, thank you, Gemma. Thank you again. And I can't wait to meet you in Denver. Yay.
Anyone else? Yeah, swing by, come say hi. Yeah, feel free to drop us an email on the website. Say hi. We've still got full access to communications here. The majority of the time, we love hearing from people. So yeah, it's great to hear from people.
Beautiful, Gemma. Thank you again. Take care of yourself. Please stay safe. You know, I'm always thinking of you. And until next time, until I see you in Denver.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
And thanks to everyone listening. Take care, Gemma.